are we at in society today?
No.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Go ahead. Make my day.
Every single week, I put my freaking heart and soul into this. I don't go out there and laugh. It's not funny. It's not fun. Nothing's funny to me. I don't want to go out there and get embarrassed on Monday Night Football in front of everybody.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
So ain't nothing changed from yesterday. Still the same person I was yesterday, and I got the same thing for you that I had yesterday. You know why I'm here.
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
Hey, we've made it to the middle of the week. What's going on? How are you? Hope you are well here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. I'm Matt Shepard. Trent Valley is with us as well. We always want you involved in our program. The Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. The text line is Sports Radio 21,000. There's a lot to get to today. Football, basketball-wise, free agency-wise, and things of that nature. We always start with the headlines. Michigan holding off Wake Forest 85-84 in overtime at Little Caesars Arena last night. Wolverines had 17 turnovers, but they won the Battle of the Glass by grabbing 51 rebounds. They put four in double figures, led by Ade Mara. He led the way with 18 points and 13 boards. He becomes the first player since Tim Duncan to register 30 points or more, 25 rebounds or more, 10 blocks or more, and 5 steals or more in his team's first 2 games. They're going to be a tough battle in the Big Ten. That's got some good teams. Michigan State is really good. Purdue is good. Illinois is really good. If you watched Illinois against Texas Tech after the Michigan game, it's good stuff. Red Wings are back on the ice tonight trying to snap a 3-game slide. They will welcome the Ducks. Anaheim beat Detroit on a recent road trip 5-2. Here's my concern. And Todd McClellan changed up the lines, made an aggressive practice yesterday because of the 3-game slide. I guess my concern would be this. Why does a coach have to, this early in a season, after his team has found some success, why does a coach this early in the season have to result to this already?
Great question.
Line changes and aggressive practices like it was training camp, for crying out loud.
Because you're right, they have had a slide, but overall they've had a great start, not great, but really solid start to the season. So the fact that he's doing this is a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah, look, I mean, they won 5 in a row after losing the first game. They had a hiccup by losing 2. Then they won 3 straight. Then they lost to the Ducks, ironically enough. They got right against the Sharks, and they've lost 3 straight since. What is it between the success of 5 in a row, and I guess to a certain extent the 3-game roll, and then a slide that has them unable to get back on track? And talking to players yesterday at the skate, and they're like, well, you know what? We've got to get more people in front of the goalie's eyes. We've got to play a more physical game up front. That's what was leading to your success early in the season. You won 5 straight because of those types of characteristics. Why do you go away from it? Oh, it's not easy. You're going to have runs. You're going to have slides in every sport. I get all that. I just don't, for the life of me, I can't figure out how they need the reminder on a regular basis. Anyway, so they're back on ice tonight. Pistons, meantime, actually, I think the Red Wings tomorrow. My apologies. The Pistons are on tonight. They're in search of an 8th straight win when they host Chicago. Bulls are one of 2 teams to beat Detroit this year. They're going to enter on a 3-game slide. The Pistons probably don't have to change a whole lot, right? I mean, here's what they need to do. They need to get healthy. You win the other night without 6 of your main contributors, and that tells you something. That's a hell of a job, right? I don't care if Washington. I don't care if a team is 1-9 coming in. I don't care if they're considered one of the worst teams in the league. It doesn't matter to me. Not in that scenario. Now, if Detroit was coming off a bye week like the Lions did and laid an egg. That would concern me. They're coming off the tail end of a back-to-back. They had played a tough stretch. It's a Washington team that was waiting for them, and you're underhanded. You're shorthanded, if I can use a hockey term. That to me tells you something about the team's character and team's togetherness. That to me was one of their more impressive wins of the season. Cleveland's Stephen Vogt and Milwaukee's Pat Murphy repeat as managers of the year. Vogt becomes the first AL manager to win back-to-back awards since Kevin Cash in 2021. This one surprised me, not going to lie. Thought it would have been John Schneider. It would have been the Blue Jays' second ever manager to win the award. Cito Gaston was the other.
Schneider would have been my vote too.
It would have been my vote. It
talked
was
about that
Stephen
yesterday.
Vogt, no pun intended, but it's Stephen Vogt because he was 15 and a half games back. And yes, they had to win. You have to give them credit. I hate when we sit there and we went, well, Detroit fell back. Somebody has to take advantage of it. The Tigers took advantage of it last year, and we thought A.J. Hinch deserved to be manager of the year. That's what most people would have told you. Stephen Vogt been manager twice. He's been the manager for 2 years. He's won manager of the year twice. You can be upset if you want if you're in Cleveland. You can be upset if you want that Detroit knocked them off in the playoffs. But for his team to make that strong push the way it did was pretty impressive. I can't argue for A.J. Hinch a year ago, although I understood with Stephen Vogt. I can't argue for A.J. Hinch a year ago how he was able to turn something around and get his team into the playoffs with a 0.2% chance, and then turn around and hold it against a guy who did something similar, if not even greater, coming from as far back as his team did. Pat Murphy led the Brewers to a league-best 97 wins. He becomes the first in NL history since Bobby Cox to win back-to-back. This one doesn't surprise me as much. I thought there might have been an outside chance at Terry Francona, whose team, as I mentioned yesterday, was 7 games under the break even the year before, and he takes over and suddenly they're a contender and they make the playoffs. They get swept by the Dodgers, but the Dodgers end up winning the World Series. So I get that. But Murphy's done a hell of a job in a market where they're just not spending money. Milwaukee doesn't spend a lot of money. So give him credit. College football playoff rankings have Ohio State at the top of the standings. We just give the top 4 because we're used to college football playoff being 4 teams. Now it's 12. I think it's going to stay 12 for at least another year. Indiana is 2. Texas A&M is 3. Alabama is 4. Michigan ranks 18th. Michigan's a good team. There's nothing special there. If they beat Ohio State, they belong in the conversation as long as they win out. They belong in the conversation for college football playoff. But right now, their resume builder is based on what win. They don't have one. I mean, if I'm playing the game, if I'm coaching the game every single week, you feel good if you win. I'm not going to take that away from you. Absolutely not. They put a lot of work in. They deserve some credit. But from a resume builder, when you're trying to separate yourself, one from the top 12 and the other 2, these guys are good, but they're good enough to play in a regular season game or a regular season bowl game, one of those throw-off bowl games. They don't cut that mustard. You've got to have something that differentiates you from everybody else, and they don't have that right now. Here's our Mitch Lineswell poll question of the day. What should the Tigers prioritize? Promoting youth, signing their own free agents, get a free agent third baseman, or get a number 2 starter? Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. The results come your way in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow. Okay. The latest power rankings in the NFL, where are the Lions, do you think? I think, at least based on a couple that I've seen, it makes a lot of sense. We'll talk about that when we come back on X's and Bros. Always welcome your input here on the Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843 on a Wednesday morning. Brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth and MitchLyonsWealth.com.
Hey Lions fans, the boys in Honolulu Blue are making us proud again this season. A great game plan combined with great execution leads to victory. Moving up and down the field is important, but you've got to be able to convert once you reach the red zone. Things get tighter, less room for error. It's no different in retirement. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. When it comes to your finances, the retirement red zone is a critical time in your planning. The 5 years before retirement and up into your retirement can dictate whether you have the success you hope for. The game changes. You've got to protect what you've spent a lifetime saving and optimize your retirement income. If you're not sure you've got the right people on your team to ensure your success in the retirement red zone, what are you waiting for? Contact us today and put the Mitch Lyons Wealth team to work for you. Go to MitchLyonsWealth.com. A simple 10-minute call can help us determine whether we can help you. 30 or 40 years of saving is worth it. That's MitchLyonsWealth.com. Mitch Lyons Wealth, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
It's raining cash, cash, cash this November at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 4 guests each hour will score $500 cash. At 11 p.m. each Saturday, 2 lucky winners will each take home $10,000 cash. Then on November 29th, the excitement peaks. 2 guests will strike it rich with $30,000 cash each. A share of $200,000 in cash is calling your name. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. And if you missed any of today's show, be sure to check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your podcasts to find the greatest hits from every day's show.
I ask this question a lot on our show. Trent probably thinks I ask it too much, and I understand that. That's okay. But here's what I always ask. How do you know? Or when do you know? Here's what I would ask you. Who's the best team in the National Football League? There's no right answer to this, by the way. There are wrong answers. Like, you can't say the Jets. You can't say Cleveland or Cincinnati or Tennessee or Las Vegas. You can't say that because it's not true. No way are you in the conversation if you're saying the Saints or the Cardinals, right? Okay. But there are plenty of answers where you could debate why a team may be the best team in the National Football League. So when I say, how do you know, I mean that sincerely. Tell me why a certain team may be. And when you get to power rankings in the National Football League, I love to see how they fluctuate. It's quite honestly, I think it's what makes the NFL so much fun. It is. I mean, when we're debating which team is the best, and obviously we get proven that at the end of the year. No kidding. Who has oftentimes I'll look at who has the most logical losses? Okay. And obviously you use statistics in other ways. Who has the most understandable losses? So if I ask you right now, or you and your friends are in a group, we had a conversation, and I said to you, who's the best team in the National Football League? Who do you think people would say? I really believe it's between five teams. And as much as I would like the Lions to be part of that conversation, I can't put them in there.
There are 7 teams with 7 wins or more, 7 or 8 wins. The Lions are not one of them. So right now it's tough to make the argument they're the best, even if you think they're top 5.
I don't even
with you.
I mean, it's not that I don't look at that, because you should look at that. I mean, obviously that's
it's a factor. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a factor. But I also look at it like who everybody's got some losses. Some of them are worse than others. So I oftentimes will use the college football landscape in order for you to be part of the college football playoff. You've got to have some impressive wins. We just got done talking about Michigan, didn't we? Okay. How they rank 18th. When you look at Michigan, what do you see? Do you see a team that's ranked 18th in the nation? I think I do. Because I don't think being in the top 25 is that big of a deal. I really don't. I think being in the top 10 is a big deal. But being in the top 25, probably not. Michigan has 2 losses, one to Oklahoma, one to USC. Those were the best teams on their slate. Their marquee win, if you will, or their best win, I suppose that might be a better way to put it, is probably against Washington. It's the same Washington team that just lost to Wisconsin. And I know you can't play connect the dots with all this stuff. But you understand where I'm coming from, right?
Yes.
You're looking for the marquee win. And haters, quote unquote, will immediately turn around, and if they don't believe in your team, they will bring up some of those bad losses. Or they will cut down, try to validate what is your best win. So that's kind of why I don't have the Lions there right now. Do I think the Lions are capable? Absolutely.
Of course.
Can they get there with a win Sunday night?
Yes.
You bet, because that would be an ideal win in Philadelphia 7-2. But if you look at the best teams in the National Football League, and I know it varies because it depends on how a team is playing at the time. If you look at the Indianapolis Colts, the Indianapolis Colts have one bad loss. And I don't know how people feel about them, but they have one bad loss. Do you know what the one bad loss for the Indianapolis Colts is? Remember, I call certain losses justifiable. They lost to the Rams. Their one justifiable loss is to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But then I look at them and I say, yeah, but what are their really good wins? Do you consider winning against the Broncos a good win? I do. It was back in week 2. I don't care. It's still a good win. Do you consider a win against the Chargers? That's debatable. Okay. New England has lost to Las Vegas and Pittsburgh. That is a really difficult thing to try and defend. As good as they are at 8-2, as well as Drake May is playing, and he should be in the conversation, I am looking for their marquee win, and it's probably at Buffalo or against Tampa, both teams that have had blemishes. See, I'm doing it right now. When you make the case or make the case against a certain team, you immediately start to cut down some of the accomplishments that they've had. Seattle has lost to San Francisco and Tampa. The Rams have the two best losses. I hate to put it that way. They have the two most understandable losses in the National Football League right now. The LA Rams do. They have lost to Philadelphia and San Francisco. But San Francisco, they avenged that, obviously. But remember, San Francisco was understaffed, underhanded. They didn't have their full complement of players when they beat them. So when you look at the Rams and you're going, a win at the Baltimore Ravens, that was a nice win, wasn't it? Well, Baltimore has turned out to be not quite as good as we thought.
Yeah, but if we're going to give the Lions credit for winning at Baltimore, you got to give the Rams the same.
Well, I haven't given the Lions credit.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying, people, when they have
you've got to be consistent with it. Yeah, absolutely. Philadelphia's lost to Denver and the Giants. And the Giants one sticks out to you, right? And Denver's lost to Indy and the Chargers. So the point is, there's a lot of teams who you think are really good, but you can make a case on why they're not and what they have more to prove to you to convince you they're really, really good. So we'll get to the power rankings coming up here in a moment. Let me get to a text. It's a Pistons text, and I want to make sure we get it in at appropriate times. So go right ahead.
In all caps, more Pistons talk. This team is unbelievable right now. I think we've got a real contender.
It's hard to deny that, isn't it?
Yeah. Number one in the East.
So let me ask you this, because I brought this up briefly yesterday. So you want Pistons talk? They didn't play last night. You can talk about Cade Cunningham almost all day long. I love how he's carried this team to a certain extent. But here's my question for you. The big conversation in Detroit sports is what? When it comes to general conversation. Outside of the lines, what is it? Are the Tigers going to re-sign Tarek School? How come no one has really used that as a platform about Jalen Duren?
Yeah, good question. Great question. And Jaden Ivey, right?
Well, not Jaden Ivey. And because he played 30 games a year ago and he still hasn't played this year.
It's not as much of a question, but it's one of those things where
you can tell they miss him.
Yeah, right? And I guess people just want to. This is the year you have to decide.
Yes, after the season. You can't continue at this rate like this. It's not going to happen. It's great for a game or two. I don't want Bobby Klinsman coming off the bench on a regular basis.
No.
If I have to use Paul Reed for more than 20 minutes, I'm in trouble. As much as it's a great story. It's a great story. What happened the other night. Okay. There's Jenkins. Awesome story. Right? 24 points, 30 plus minutes. You can't survive that way.
Javonte Green playing all these minutes.
Javonte Green starting is not ideal for JB Bickerstaff. You need Isaiah Stewart, obviously. You need Karis LeVert. You need Jaden Ivey eventually. You'd love to have Marcus Sasser back, although I've seen people on social media. Well, what Jenkins did now means that he's going to take over for Marcus Sasser. It's one game, man. It's literally one game. It's the same people are complaining left and right about getting too high and mighty about certain players they don't necessarily like.
And what we're saying here is if the Pistons want to be a true contender, like the end of that text said, and I don't disagree, but what Shep just laid out needs to happen.
You need a full complement of players, okay?
Yes.
You do. And then eventually, hopefully, they will make some type of move, whether it be Lauri Markkanen, or Domantas Sabonis. Sacramento is believed to be letting some listening to offers. I love a Domantas Sabonis because you'd have three guys in their lineup every single night giving you double-doubles. You'd have Cade Cunningham giving you a double-double, Jalen Duren and Sabonis. Sabonis with the triple-double. Doesn't command the basketball. Doesn't, it's about Zach LaVine It's possible there. A couple of other players that people have brought up. I'm like, wait a minute, that dude requires a lot of shots. DeMar DeRozan's another one. You've already got guys like that. You've got Cade Cunningham that you want shooting the ball because he's got such a great shot. Jaden Ivey. You've got other guys who are going to need shots. I need guys who can do some of the other things. Anyway, they can't keep it up at this rate. We got to take a quick time out. More Pistons talk on the other side, and power rankings in the National Football League. A lot coming up here on X's and Bros on a Wednesday morning. Brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth, MitchLyonsWealth.com.
It's raining cash this November at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 4 guests each hour will score $500 cash. At 11 p.m. each Saturday, 2 lucky winners will each take home $10,000 cash. Then on November 29th, the excitement peaks. 2 guests will strike it rich with $30,000 cash each. A share of $200,000 in cash is calling your name. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
And practice and the day-to-day is actually paying off. I'm excited for more. I mean, like I said, we haven't done nothing yet. We've just shown that we've improved over the last couple of years, but I think as we continue to work, and like I said before, sky's the limit.
Hey, that's Jalen Duren, a guy who is. I think he's been so damn good. That was him on, I think, SportsCenter or ESPN recently. He's been so damn good, so damn consistent, and has improved. Not that he's reached his ceiling. He hasn't. I don't think any of these players have, believe it or not. I don't think Cade Cunningham has. This is where young players, this is why you have to be willing to understand, and I hate the word patient. I know you do too, because we hear it from front offices and coaches all the time. But it really is. This dude's 21. He'll be 22 in 6 days. All right. So a week from yesterday will be his 22nd birthday. Think about that. Kid's averaging a double-double every year. And I know what you're going to say. Some people will go, wait a minute now. Come on. I mean, there's a lot of people who are his size who could get 10 points, at least 10 points in their sleep. Okay. There's a lot of big guys in the league, man. There's a lot of big guys in the NBA who are trying to prevent that. Okay. And if his game is so limited, like people think, and it has been, then that would also be, a little bit of a dark mark against his game. So that would make it even a little bit more challenging to reach that double-double. The double-digit rebounds, it's not just size, man. It's about effort. You know that. He has been doing a much better job with his interior defense, moving side to side. His footwork is greatly improved, and he's started to get a little bit more creative offensively. He's not quite there yet. I don't expect him to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't expect him to be Akeem Olajuwon. I'd love for him to be Akeem Olajuwon. Maybe the best feat of any big man I've ever seen. Pretty looking baseline jumper, range from 15 feet. Would love that. I'm talking about on a regular basis. Great spin moves and all that other stuff. Jalen Duren has worked on that. And I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself because it's 11 games. But through the first 11 games, you cannot deny the importance of his role on this team. At 22, he's getting better. At 22, he's willing to get better. Sometimes that in itself is good enough for me.
He's averaging 19
points in the NBA today where you've got young players, and what are they doing? They think they've arrived. They don't think they need to do anything more with their game. It's not that they don't practice. It's not that they don't take their craft seriously. It's just they think that they've arrived, and this is who they're going to be. Jalen Duren is a guy who seems to be getting it. He understands that his game has holes, and he's trying to fill those holes. Him, Cade Cunningham, one of the most dynamic duos in the league so far. So far. Can he keep it up for 82 games? I don't know. I'd like to see him play a little bit more minutes. I'd love to be seeing him logging roughly, 30 minutes a game. I think that would be important. I do. I'd like to see this team first and foremost healthy. That's the most important thing. Back with you on X's and BrO's. Let me get to the and feel free to give us a shout or a text. And somebody did text more Pistons talk. Great. Jump on board. What do you like? What don't you like? What are your concerns, if you have any? Okay. Team loses to Chicago and then rips off a ton of wins. And most people would have just thought that they would have lost the other night against Washington. You're down 13 in the fourth quarter. You could look around on the bench. This is where good coaching. I think J.B. Bickerstaff deserves more credit than perhaps he's getting. We talk about Cade Cunningham. I talk a lot about Jalen Duren because I like him. We talk about the injuries. We talk about Darius Jenkins coming in, hitting 2 big threes late, scoring 24 points, logging a career high in minutes and logging a career high in points as well. We talk about some of the other role players, right? Duncan Robinson starting to feel his shot a little bit better, getting to know his players, his teammates a little bit better, understanding the offense, understanding a flow, all those different things, all right? Took him a little bit of time, but he's starting to get that right now. JB Bickerstaff playing his guys the way he played them, first and foremost, but also keeping his team engaged. That can be a challenging thing. You got 82 games. You know what it's like. You're down 13 in the fourth. You could easily sit down during a timeout, look around and go, we don't have the firepower here tonight.
Not our night.
This is a scheduling and injury loss for us. They didn't do that. They dug deep. You knew they were tired. You knew it. In the fourth quarter, you knew they were tired. In overtime, you knew they were tired. They rested well that night. They got up. They handed out turkeys yesterday. Ton of credit in the morning for the Pistons. Good for them. But they didn't do that. And that's a good mix of the young players. All right? I believe the best teams have that fixture of youth sprinkled in with some vets. One of those vets, as I've said time and time again, even though people didn't like the acquisition, I liked it from this standpoint. Tobias Harris. Shep, he disappears in the playoffs. Here's what he's going to do. He's going to help you get there. And he's going to help some of these players. They are learning from people like Tobias Harris. They are learning from now soon to be veterans within the team. They're veterans overall, but veterans within the team, Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, right? They learned a lot from Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. last year and Dennis Schroeder. They did. So when you can take those lessons and suddenly you become a little bit more confident in the leader as well. You had a situation where a young team, strictly a young team, that hasn't learned valuable lessons from veterans would have just said, these things happen. This is one of those games where, the odds were against us and we couldn't pull out of it, but we're still playing good enough basketball to be considered a threat in the Eastern Conference. They did not do that. They looked at the situation and said, why not us? And they got it done. That's a mindset. But that starts within the coaches. The constant push, the understanding of who needs a break when, and the confidence to give a guy like Jenkins the final shot. Who would have thought that? Everybody was thinking it's Cade Cunningham, right? Everybody's thinking it's somebody other than a guy who spent time in the G League. Let's get to another text. Go ahead.
Duren, Holland, and a first to Utah for Lauri Markkanen and a second will make this team a finals team.
No.
Lauri Markkanen has been popping up in trade talks, though. It sounds like the Jazz are
not for that.
Not for the Pistons, no.
No. Yes, for the Pistons.
Not
for that package.
Right. You're not giving up Duren, Holland, and a
Are
first.
you kidding me? Here's what happens. Because there are certain players we like or don't like. I've said this ad nauseum over the years. You are not going to convince people that they're good. I don't want this young guy. I don't want that. You're going to give up 2 key guys in your rotation for one guy in a second round pick. The second round pick, who gives a crap? Honestly. It's not that I don't like Lauri Markkanen. I like him a lot, and he's having a really good year, man. I like him very much. Okay. I would love to have him on this team. I don't think that's what you give up. That's all.
You're giving up 19 points from Duren. What's Holland averaging?
Well, it's not just the points, because if you're going to play that game, you're probably going to lose the game, because Lauri Markkanen is averaging 28 points a game. Okay. So that's not what it's about. It's about there are certain times where teams don't want to shake a foundation. When you have Cade Cunningham, the leader of your team, expressing the type of gratitude, belief, and support for a guy like Jalen Duren. Ron Holland has been developing into a key contributor to this team in a lot of different ways, offensively and defensively, and is a flexible guy. He can play multiple positions. Again, this has nothing to do with Lauri Markkanen, who I like. 28 points per game this year so far. This after last year averaging 19. 9 boards. He's a career 7 rebound per game guy. Okay? You need someone to crash the glass. And before you give me Isaiah Stewart, he has been – I know people like Isaiah Stewart. It's not that I don't. But admittedly, you have to admit, he seems to be out quite a bit. So we're seeing him in overalls again, and we might again tonight, instead of a uniform. Jalen Duren's been durable, and he's been productive, and he's getting better. What would I give up for Lauri Markkanen? That's a really good question. I'd give up a future first, and I would give up somebody on this team, but I wouldn't give up those two guys on this team. I think you can build a winner, and they have been winning so far. It doesn't mean that they're going to win a championship. Cleveland won 64 games and didn't win a championship with Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. But what you can't – but if you've got Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, Ron Holland, and Jalen Duren, I think you're in really good shape there.
What about a future first-round pick, Chaz Lanier, who you haven't seen much of, I know.
They're not going to take that. They're not.
No, and then maybe like Karis LeVert, like throw in another little sweetener.
I mean, be honest. You're in Utah. Your best player, you're going to trade for a second-round pick, Chaz Lanier. You're going to a future first that's going to be at the end of the draft and usually isn't worth that much. And a broken-down Karis LeVert? Come on.
I guess my question –
How would you sell that to, A, your locker room, and B, your fan base?
Yeah, this is why I'm not a general manager. But my point is they're going to trade him. So it's just a matter of who can make the best offer. And I don't know if anyone – Well, what would be? What do you think would be? A first-round pick and Ron Holland? Just Ron Holland, no Duren?
No, I don't even know about that. I'll be honest with you. I haven't given it much thought. I think Detroit, you have to. It's great to explore it, but I mean, come on, man. I mean, if you're the opposing team, aren't you in there going? If you're the Utah Jazz in this situation, what in the world? You need players back. You need good players back. So here's what I would do. I just got done tooting this guy's horn, so it sounds very hypocritical. Here's what I would do. How about this? Tobias Harris, because he's at the end of a contract, Jaden Ivey, and a first-round pick.
Okay, I think that's fair. That's a good offer.
Okay. I would do that. All right. Suddenly, you would have Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson and Ron Holland, and you would have Lauri Markkanen and Isaiah Stewart. I mean, I think you'd be in a much better situation there. That's just my opinion. Guy shoots well from the floor, about 45%. Shoots well from three, about 35%. Great free throw shooter at 90%. He's a pro. I don't know how good he is defensively, okay, rotational-wise, but I would – now, would the Jazz do that? Look, it helps if they'll free up some money because Tobias Harris would be gone. I don't know if this matches either. In the NBA, you have to match contracts too, so they have to be within a certain percentage. So I don't know if that necessarily works. But Tobias Harris will give you a pro's pro, and he will free up cap space after the year. Jaden Ivey gives you a solid two-guard who can create his own shot and get points and a future first-round pick. If that doesn't work and you've got to add somebody, who would that somebody be? I'd have to take a look a little bit deeper. But off the top of my head, I would say Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, and a first-round pick for Lauri Markkanen. I don't know if that would get it done either. I mean, if I'm the Jazz, I think there's some positives there without question. But I don't know if that would necessarily get it done. I'm sure there are other players, other teams that would love to have a guy like that. A red light scorer? Absolutely, man. I mean, That would be ideal. But I think, I don't know who that's from. But I think when people are saying you want to get rid of Jalen Durden, look, I'll tell you this: if I'm Utah and you presented that with me, I'd do it in a second. Wouldn't you? Holy crap, man!
Yeah. Yep.
Remember, didn't the Jazz last year extend Markkanen? He's on a 5 year.
I'll double check that. Yeah.
I think they did. He's like on a 5-year, $240 million deal. Okay. So you're talking about other teams would get involved in this. I saw something on this on social media yesterday because it sure seems like they would get rid of him. Utah with Portland, Scoot Henderson and Jeremy Grant for Lauri Markkanen.
I don't know about that. They'd probably have to throw in a pick too. Because that's a pick you want. You want Portland's first round pick.
Right.
And Scoot Henderson hasn't proven and Jeremy Grant, solid player. We all know that. But
solid player, but that's all he is.
I don't think they'd take it for just the 2 players. I think you'd have to throw in a first.
Right. Boston, for example. There's a rumor out there that Boston would do something to try and lure a guy like Lauri Markkanen, who seems like a Celtics type of player. All right.
Yeah,
so they're supposedly linked to him as well.
And by the way, you were right about the contract. It was signed last summer, so before last season. And 5 years, $238 million.
So he's making about $50 million.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing. I mean, the Celtics would love to pair him with, Brown and Tatum and White, right? So he's a desirable featured player. No question about that. I would love to trade for him. I just don't know. To the Texter's credit, you're going to have to give up something to get something. That's giving up an awful lot. You're giving up a 22-year-old who's going to give Utah a double-double. You're going to give up a young player who's going to be averaging well over double digits. You're going to give up a first-round pick, which, again, if you're good enough, it shouldn't really matter all that much. So,
but you got to keep in mind too, Shep. You're right. It's Utah's rebuilding. Full-on rebuilding. The Pistons are in year 3 of this rebuild with this squad, and you're still, you got a good thing going. I don't think trading 2 of your young rotational guys plus draft compensation. I don't
disagree that they've got a good thing going. That doesn't mean that it's the best thing they've got.
That doesn't mean you can't get
better.
It doesn't mean you can't
win. Okay. I think they're going to have to do something. Because I don't think they're going to win the East with the setup. They don't. Let me ask you this. This would be unpopular for people because of who he is and what he represents. What about Isaiah Stewart?
I was just going to say Isaiah Stewart and Jaden Ivey are the 2 guys, the younger guys, quote unquote, that I think you could get rid of.
Yeah. For Lauri Markkanen, I don't think there's anything wrong. You're going to lose post defense. But that's where you expect Jalen Durden to step forward a little bit.
And you're getting durability too.
So what if I said to you it was Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, and Isaiah Stewart for Lauri Markkanen?
I think they'd take that. Would you take that?
That's a lot to give up. You're not going to have Harris next year, and you probably wouldn't have Jaden Ivey next year.
Good point. I would do that if I was Detroit.
So I think I would do that too. I would want to hold on to Ron Howland and Jalen Durden because of what they bring to the table. It's fun to think about, and I appreciate the text. It makes me think. That's what's great about our audience. Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. The problem is so many people want to just hold on to everything they have. And if you're not good enough right now and you recognize that, you've got to be able to move forward with things. And you got to be able to say, you know what, we've got to sever ties here and without disrupting too much. Markkanen would bring an awful lot to the Pistons. We're back after this.
Pro football can be a tough road as a player, full of highs and lows, injuries, roster decisions, and someone always gunning to take your job. Bottom line, there's a lot of uncertainty, and you need to know how to navigate it. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, former Steeler and Falcon tight end, and founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Back in my NFL days, protection was important, protecting the quarterback, the ball, and your body. Retirement is no different. When you're in the retirement red zone, you need a retirement of steel. A retirement protected from a tumultuous stock market with an income that never stops and can only increase. You can get growth tied to the stock market without putting your nest egg in jeopardy. That's right. If the market goes up, you can lock in gains, but if it goes down, you don't lose a dime. Contact us today to schedule a 10-minute intro call to see if we can help you retire comfortably without worry. Call today and we'll send you my book, Retirement of Steel. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Call 866-85-STEEL. That's 866-857-8335. Again, 866-857-8335. MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Yeah, you know it. Rap Rewind 2000. Monday, December 29th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort featuring the boss, BrO's. Special guests, Twister, Baby Bash, and Ying Yang Twins. Tickets start at $75 and are on sale now at the box office at etix.com. Rap Rewind 2000. Rick Ross plus Twister, Baby Bash, and Ying Yang Twins. December 29th at Soaring Eagle. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Save a good deal more this holiday season with Meyer brand hot deals. Enjoy big savings with Meyer brand ingredients and make your festive Thanksgiving meal even better. Like cans of Meyer cut green beans for 49 cents each, Meyer turkey stuffing mix for 99 cents, cans of Meyer 100% pure pumpkin are just $1.09 each, and Meyer chicken broth is 69 cents. Shopping for holiday meal essentials is a good deal better at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Second hour of X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Glad you're with us every Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. We're brought to you this hour by our friends at Meyer. Pistons back in action tonight. A lot of Pistons discussion in our first hour, and for good reason, right? I mean, I love when people are engaged, so we appreciate the text. You can always text us, Sports Radio 21,000, or call us on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. If you missed any of our programs, Trent does a really good job of getting it out on social media. Follow us on our social media channels, including Twitter at XB Mornings. And don't forget, we are streaming live, as always. We do that, and I retweet that out in case you follow me and you don't follow us per se. On our Twitter handle at XB Mornings, you follow me at Shep Matt. But what we do is we make sure we let you know, and we put it out there on X. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. It's great that we're out there. I love the fact that there are different ways that people can get in touch with us and follow us here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. We always appreciate our partners. Our partners like Michelin's Wealth, like Meyer, Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, Ferris Coffee. They're good to have on board, and we love the partnership that we have with them. So every week, the various websites come out with power rankings. And before we got to the Pistons discussion, and people asked us about Pistons, and you kind of helped drive this show. If there's something you want to talk about, you bring it in to our text line or on the Meyer hotline, then we make sure we address it, and we'll shape the conversation that way. But we want to get back to these power rankings. I said before, you have certain teams that you may believe in, but if you were to debate somebody on a specific team and they didn't believe in that team or one particular stretch of games that team was playing, then you could make that case for just about every single team. All right? Indianapolis lost to Pittsburgh for crying out loud. If they're so great and they're the best team in football, how in the hell do they lose to Pittsburgh? It's a good question. If you really believe in Drake May and the New England Patriots, how the hell did they lose to the Chargers and to Pittsburgh, right? How does Seattle fall to San Francisco, who's without their starting quarterback, and a Tampa team that has been inconsistent this year, right? If the Rams are so great, why couldn't they beat Philadelphia? Why couldn't they beat San Francisco, who was undermanned? If Philly's that great, how the hell do you lose to the Giants, who just fired their head coach? You make these cases for a lot of teams. Denver, how do you lose to Indy? How do you lose to the Chargers, who are not considered a top 5 team? So I looked at ESPN yesterday, and they had the Eagles at number 1 after a 10-7 win in Green Bay. It's like Micah Parsons said after the game. Can we just enjoy a really good defensive battle? Yes, but some of it was bad offense too. And I think with Philadelphia, Devontae Smith's on pace for a career year. A.J. Brown seems disgruntled, not getting targeted very often. Do you truly trust Jalen Hurts? Good question. But they're at number 1. The Rams are number 2. And perhaps that's because they had a bounce back against San Francisco. San Francisco had beat them at LA earlier this year. The Rams bounce back and they win in Frisco this past weekend. Puka Nacua, now healthy, 3rd in receiving yards despite missing 2 full games. Indianapolis, they have us 3. New England at 4, Seattle at 5. I think that's right. We can argue in what order, but I think those are the teams. I'm a little surprised, slightly surprised, that they don't have Denver in there just because of Denver's defense. Now, they have Denver at 9, which I think is too low. They've got them behind Tampa. They've got them behind Buffalo, which I think is asinine. And they've got them behind Detroit. Detroit is at 6. And here's what they were right. The non-quarterback MVP, wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And we'll get into that coming up here with St. Brown. He's a 2-time first-team All-Pro, proved to be one of the squad's hardest workers, which has set the tone in Detroit since his arrival as a 4th-round pick out of USC in 2021. Through the first 9 games, St. Brown joined Herman Moore, 1995, as the only players in franchise history to record at least 60 receptions and 8 receiving touchdowns during that span. He did this all despite undergoing off-season knee surgery. That's from ESPN. So they got him at 6, Buffalo 7, Tampa 8, Denver 9, and then the Chargers 10. No need to go very far beyond that unless you want to know where the Packers are, and they've got the Packers at 12. How far they've fallen. The Packers at 12. The only other team that I'd be interested in is Chicago, considering Chicago is tied with Detroit for the lead in the NFC North. And this gives you an indication on how much people truly believe in Ben Johnson's team. They're ranked 14th. That tells you something, doesn't it? So you go to CBS, CBSSports.com. We can go to The Athletic and a lot of others. I'm just going to give you these two because I've got just about every single website in here and the top, how they're ranking these teams, the power rankings. Here's what they have. They have Seattle at 1, the Rams at 2, Matt Stafford lighting up defenses, the Rams ready to face the Seahawks on Sunday. I know it's going to be a really good Sunday night game, Lions and Eagles. Rams Seahawks might trump it a little bit. It's going to be awesome. 2 teams at 7-2 fighting for the division lead. They're going to play each other twice in the remaining weeks. They've got New England 3, the Eagles 4, the Colts 5, the Bucks 6, and the Lions 7. I don't know if that has to do with Tampa beating, Detroit beating Tampa and then losing as badly as they did to a Minnesota team. And I know it wasn't a big score wise, but that loss to Kansas City, then the loss to Minnesota really put people on edge a little bit about the Lions. They could understand it's like a justifiable loss in Kansas City because of how desperate the Chiefs were at the time. But when you look at Minnesota, that comes back to haunt them. Losing at Green Bay, season opener, okay. Losing Kansas City, timing where they were, Chiefs reeling a little bit, needed to pick me up, tough place to win, you get that. Losing at home against Minnesota is the one that keeps them down in these power rankings. Not that this is the be-all, end-all, but keeps them down in the power rankings. So they got Tampa at 6, and then Detroit at 7. Dan Campbell took over the play-calling duties, and the offense came to life. Of course, they did it against air, otherwise known as the Commanders' defense, but it was impressive. They got Buffalo at 8, Broncos at 9, Chiefs at 10, Packers at 11. Where would you have the Lions based on what we just saw against Washington? Sure, you want to, it's like the CBS report, it's against air. Washington's defense isn't very good. Okay, I get that. Cleveland's defense was really good. And look what Detroit did against them. Baltimore always boasted how great their defense is, and that's what we talk about. We talk about Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and their defense because they don't have a one receiver. So those are the things that when you bring up the Ravens, who consistently win the AFC North or are in the mix for Super Bowl chatter with their coach and their quarterback, okay? Unless you think Zay Flowers is a 1, those are the people or positions you talk about. QB, running back, freight train, and defense. Yet Detroit played really well against that. So I guess sometimes we can be very inconsistent in our arguments. So I'm wondering where you would have them. I think ranking them 6th is just about right. I'd probably put them 7th. I think right now, teams like, in no particular order, Philadelphia, the Rams, Seattle, New England, Indianapolis, and Denver have proven more, not just because they have more wins and fewer losses, but they have proven more, and the Minnesota loss sticks out as perhaps the worst loss of anybody's loss outside of Philadelphia losing to the Giants. And the Lions will get the Giants next week. Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Text line, sports radio to 21,000. I would say I think Detroit has the best talent of any team in the National Football League. I still believe that. One of their talents plays linebacker. His thoughts on Dan Campbell as a leader and more when we come back on X's and Bros, brought to you this hour by Meyer.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Doran Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week all the way through the Super Bowl. Doran Mayhew is proud to partner with The Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Doran Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is the managing shareholder at Doran Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on The Huge Show, going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Save a good deal more this holiday season with Meyer brand hot deals. Enjoy big savings with Meyer brand ingredients and make your festive Thanksgiving meal even better. Like cans of Meyer cut green beans for 49 cents each, Meyer turkey stuffing mix for 99 cents, cans of Meyer 100% pure pumpkin are just $1.09 each, and Meyer chicken broth is 69 cents. Shopping for holiday meal essentials is a good deal better at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
this was the year I got the complete golden captain's patch on my jersey. And, it's an honor. It really is. You try not to make a big deal of it just because I lead by example a lot. I'm not the biggest rah-rah guy, but I speak truth when there needs to be truth spoken. So, it's an honor just to be out there and help lead the guys and, kind of be an older presence, for my teammates on defense and on the team in whole.
That's Alex Anzalone on the Jim Rome show yesterday. Good interview. Talked about a lot of different things, including Dan Campbell, but that's his leadership style. I like that style. Not everybody can be a guy who comes out with smoke and fire and doing dances. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody needs to do that. All right. That's not his personality. It's not a knock on any one particular player who may have done that. I mean, that's who Ray Lewis was. That's how he got himself fired up. That's why he's a Hall of Fame player. Not because of the dance that he did, but because of the performances on a regular basis. And that was his ego. That was his alter ego. That was how he got himself fired up. Okay. You can do that when you post the type of numbers that he did in his career. It's hard to do that and give yourself an alter ego if you've only played 3 games. I don't know where I'm going with that. Oh, yeah, I do. J.J. McCarthy. Anyway, Alex Anzalone leads that way. I love that he's that veteran presence and that he and Jack Campbell work so well together, and Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes has had some really good games so far this year too. So the story, I think the defense has been, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I know Terrion Arnold had a career high in coverage rating last weekend before he got the concussion. Yeah. Brian Branch has been in the news for the wrong reasons. Kirby Joseph has been hurt. DJ Reed has been hurt. Aiden Hutchinson has been productive, but people want to see more out of him. Aleem McNeil was great when he first came back, but we haven't heard his name a ton. Roy Lopez had a really good game, and he's had a quiet season where he's been very effective. We've seen splashes of Al-Qadim Muhammad and Derek Barnes. Really, this defense is Jack Campbell. And
that's a great take, Shep.
No, it really is. I mean, this defense has been
awesome.
about Jack Campbell. He's been as consistent, and he's made certain plays.
He's the anchor.
Where he's running down fast wide receivers, where he's standing running backs, meeting them in the hole, and throwing them backwards. And think about the ability to do that, not just because of strength, but because of reading the offense. You're not getting in on my watch, throw him back down. Great stuff. It really is. He's been awesome. I don't know if there's enough people out there who didn't want them to draft him. What are you doing drafting a linebacker from Iowa in the first round? So the same people probably didn't want Jahmyr Gibbs, and are super glad that they did draft Jahmyr Gibbs. Anytime that happens, I always say, who did you want? Please tell me. I want to know who you wanted instead of. I was a massive Jack Campbell fan while he played at Iowa. I am not going to try and convince you that I knew he would be this good. Okay? That's crazy. All right. But I was happy with the draft pick. Let's put it that way. I think he's a hell of a player, but sometimes it doesn't always translate to the National Football League. You and I both know that. There's been plenty of players who were really good at college, and it just didn't translate to the NFL. Now we can use quarterback after quarterback, running back after running back. Some of it is injuries, unfortunately. But when people talk about certain guys that you want to have captain your defense, certain guys who you think are going to be a difference maker, Jack Campbell is that guy. And when you look back at it, you say, man, there were 17 guys taken ahead of him in that draft. Bryce Young was taken ahead of him. All right? Anthony Richardson was taken ahead of him. Paris Johnson was taken ahead of him. Darnell Wright was taken ahead of him. Pete Skoronski was taken ahead of him. there's not that these guys are bad players. I'm just giving you an idea. There are some people, I totally understand why New England would be happy with Christian Gonzalez. I think he's an absolute baller. Love him. I think he's a really good player. Will Anderson was third in that draft for Houston. Absolutely take. Love. Devin Witherspoon. Love. Think he's really good. Bijan Robinson. Amen. Right? Yes. But there are certain guys. Every team misses. You think certain guys, certain teams are so good. The Las Vegas Raiders took Tyree Wilson. Would you rather have Tyree Wilson as an outside linebacker or Jack Campbell manning your inside? The Jets took Will McDonald. Would you rather have Will McDonald as a defensive end, or would you rather have Jack Campbell? It happens. Right. Pittsburgh's known to take really good players. They took Broderick Jones. Instead of Jack Campbell is the epitome of a Pittsburgh linebacker. Am I wrong there? I think so. So I'm just glad we've got him, but I think he's been that guy. How he leads compared to Alex Anzalone, I don't know. I think there are different ways to lead. I've said this for a long time in just about every sport. Cade Cunningham leads differently than other guys do. Like there are two defining moments for me when it comes to the Detroit Pistons. And I said this yesterday. Cade Cunningham, last year, Ron Holland gets in somebody's grill after a hard foul or something like that. And it's almost like he wanted to fight. He wanted to throw down. Cade Cunningham took him by the jersey and dragged him away from the skirmish.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?
Basically said, this is not going to happen today. This is not how you handle it, and I'm not going to allow it. Damn it. You understand me? Boom. So that's that. Earlier this year, I think it was against Orlando, Jalen Duren chewed out Asar Thompson for missing a low block defensive assignment. And they had words, and they got to the sideline, and they got to the bench, and Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson shook hands. But it was the fact that he's willing to hold others accountable.
Was that the Magic game?
Yeah, I said it was against Orlando.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So those were two, I think, defining moments of two younger players who are growing, not just as players, but as leaders. And I love seeing that. And I think you see that, with the Lions too. But when you have as much success as the Lions have had over the last couple of years, a lot of people don't feel like that's necessary. And it's a big reason why they do have the success that they have. So Alex Anzalone has been a really important part of it. I hope Detroit wins because I really like him, and I don't think he's going to be around next year. I don't know what kind of contract he would back, but at his age and his production and his leadership, my guess is he would like more than a 1-year deal.
Well, and think about it. He already held out before this season.
He didn't hold out. No, he didn't hold out.
Well, he held in. He was showing up but not practicing or whatever.
No, he was. Yeah, he was practicing. He just made it known that he wanted an extension. Yeah. He wanted to practice, or he did practice, but when people asked him about it, he said, look, I want a new contract. I think I deserve it. I am not paid fairly. I'm synopsizing here.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm
misremembering. And the Lions, and then the Lions said, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a bump for this year. They gave him the bump. Good for them. So he was no longer ranked 18th, I think, in linebacking pay.
Yeah, and I think they guaranteed a lot of his money for this year too.
Yeah. So another example of what a really good organization does. Okay. But I do believe at that position, you're going to have to get a little younger. So in the NFL draft, and it's a long way away. We don't have to talk about it now, but I mean, they're going to look for a tackle. They're going to look for a linebacker. I think that's what they have to do, as well as a backup quarterback. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. Speaking of the Lions, I'm on Ross Van Brown. I don't think he's playing Sunday night. I know that's a little controversial. We'll get into it on the other side of what happened in Washington that the networks didn't show you, or maybe didn't catch. We'll get to that when we come back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9, throughout the great state of Michigan. This hour brought to you by Meyer.
It's raining cash, cash, cash this November at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 4 guests each hour will score $500 cash. At 11 p.m. each Saturday, 2 lucky winners will each take home $10,000 cash. Then on November 29th, the excitement peaks. 2 guests will strike it rich with $30,000 cash each. A share of $200,000 in cash is calling your name. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Doran Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week all the way through the Super Bowl. Doran Mayhew is proud to partner with The Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Doran Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is the managing shareholder at Doran Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on The Huge Show, going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
Save a good deal more this holiday season with Meyer brand hot deals. Enjoy big savings with Meyer brand ingredients and make your festive Thanksgiving meal even better. Like cans of Meyer cut green beans for 49 cents each, Meyer turkey stuffing mix for 99 cents, cans of Meyer 100% pure pumpkin are just $1.09 each, and Meyer chicken broth is 69 cents. Shopping for holiday meal essentials is a good deal better at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
So we found out as players, earlier in the week on Wednesday practice. So, it kind of is. It's one of those situations. It is what it is. He felt it was right for the team, right for the offense. And, he gets that, he has the persona of being a meathead and kind of a motivational, coach or speaker. But he's really highly intelligent with the X's and O's. And, he's proved it in 2021 when he took over play calling and this last game. And, I'm excited to, have him keep on doing it throughout the year. And, just one of those situations. It is what it is. And he felt like it was best for the team.
Love that. That's Alex Anzalone from the interview with Jim Rome, talking about Dan Campbell and how good of a play caller he truly is. Dan Campbell might be the best salesman we've ever seen. He's literally allowed people to define him based off his opening press conference. Like, personally, I don't give a crap about an opening press conference. I really don't. I mean, how many times have you seen a coach win the press conference or a general manager win the press conference? Everybody leaves and they're like, man, that dude's got his stuff going on, man. I mean,
yeah, and Shep, you've probably been to a lot of them.
I've been to more than I can count, and I leave going, oh yeah, I can see why they hired that guy. I mean, think about it. I was at the press conference with Matt Patricia. He's in a suit and tie. He's answering the questions. He's saying all the right things. He's introducing his family. He's excited to be in Detroit. I want people who want to be here, Shep. He wanted to be here. All this stuff, right? Pencil in the ear. Told some funny stories. Matt Millen did the same thing. I was at that press conference. I was at plenty of Wayne Fonse's press conference. He was funny. He was engaging. I don't care. I want to see what you do to make my team win on game day. Period. You want the best quote, go find somebody else. You want the best joke, go find somebody else. I want the best coach. Did Bill Belichick last a long time in New England? It wasn't because of press conferences.
That's a great point.
Okay. It's because he won football games. Now, could he win without Tom Brady? Obviously not. Now, it's a little different with Aaron Glenn. Do you have the sound from Aaron Glenn by chance?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Play this. Okay. This is from yesterday. At his, or maybe it's from earlier in the week, but it might have been Monday. Either way, that's from this week when people are asking Aaron Glenn questions about his team's health. Go ahead.
I'm going to pass on talking about injuries. Since Rich, he's not here, has all the answers, so you guys can get all the injuries from Rich. So I go right into this game.
Okay, he's referring to Rich Cimini of ESPN, who broke the news on whether or not a certain player was going to play on game day. Okay,
he is being facetious.
Who? Aaron Glenn?
Yeah.
No, he's being literal there.
Well, I know he's referring to a real reporter, but I'm saying he's just being. He doesn't want any of them to ask questions about injuries, and he's being a jackass about it.
Yeah, he's being a smartass because he's saying, "Look, this is the guy who broke the news. Why don't you just everybody ask him instead of me, since he's got all the answers." In other words, he thinks Rich Cimini's a know-it-all when it comes to this stuff. Here's the problem with that, and I like Aaron Glenn. I was glad he got a head coaching job. I wanted him to do well. It hasn't gone well for the Jets. How they won last week, I don't know, but they've been able to do that. My problem is he wouldn't even give you the starting quarterback. He wouldn't give members of the media there the starting quarterback. If you recall, okay, when Justin Fields was benched, do you remember that? 4 weeks ago, he was benched. They asked him all week long, who's going to be your quarterback? He said, I'll let you know by the end of the week. He never told them. You know me. I have said this time and time again. We don't deserve to know everything. I get that. Asking who the starting quarterback is going to be, looking on the depth chart, asking if it's real, that is not a hard question to answer. I don't think you're giving away too many secrets.
But is there a gamesmanship aspect to that? Like, do you think that's unprofessional for him to not tell them, or do you think it's just a gamesmanship? I want the team to know. The other team. I mean, the opponent.
Well, there's not a lot of secrets in the National Football League.
Okay, that's definitely true. Yeah.
You know, this isn't an NHL. He's got an upper body injury when he's got an arm injury. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know all the rules for the National Football League. I thought you put out a depth chart. You have to on Saturday have by Saturday who's active, who's not. So I suppose they could find out then. I don't know how many teams are going, oh my God, how am I going to prepare if I don't know if it's Justin Fields? So there could be. Why don't more coaches do it then? Because they don't have a question mark at quarterback? Bull roar. They sure as hell do. There's plenty of them that do right now. I don't know. It's a good question. I think there is some gamesmanship to it, but that's not how he looked at it.
There's also not much precedent for it, like you just said. It's not like that happens often.
Correct.
When
He
you
left
don't know
himself
the starters.
open, I think, to being questioned why he would start one guy or the other, or does he even know what he's doing? And I think that would be fair. I mean, if you've got a team that's 0-7 and you tell the media you're going to let them know who the quarterback is, and by Friday you still don't know, that tells you either you don't have a clue on who's best capable to allow your team to win, or you don't have the personnel at all that you believe in. So I don't know. It's not winning a press conference, and knives will be out for members of the media, whether we think it's fair or not. That's what's going to happen. All right. So let me get to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I think is obviously a hell of a football player. I don't give a crap that he was drafted in the 4th round. I just know that dude runs really good routes, blocks downfield, and has really good hands. Surprised at the number of drops he's had so far this year.
We got a text about that moments ago.
Okay, go ahead.
Just real quick. It's that question. Any concern with St. Brown's drops?
It's not the drops as it is the way he's playing. Now, he's on pace to have the same numbers he had a year ago or so. Okay. I don't view him as a guy who's disgruntled. It's not like he's A.J. Brown. Okay. So right now, through what is it? How many games have they played? 9? Through 9 games, he's got 64 catches for 693 yards. Last year, he had 115 rocks for over 1,200 yards. So he's got 8 games left. On average, he should get close, if not better, than what he had a year ago. It's not that far off at all. In fact, he's ahead of pace when touchdowns. He had a career high 12 touchdowns last year. He's got 8 already this year. He's one of the few wide receivers ever who have put up some of the numbers that he's put up so far. There's no question he's among the best wide receivers the Lions have ever had. He's not Calvin Johnson. He's not Herman Moore, but he's in the discussion among the best they've ever had. I like him. I think you do too. I like everything that he stands for, the toughness, the humility that he shows on a regular basis. But last Sunday against Washington, he took a punch from Daron Payne that was a cheap shot. From the sense that, you're not supposed to do that stuff. It wasn't a cheap shot that he didn't see it coming. Daron Payne was right in his face and cold cocked him and got ejected for the game. What we didn't see, but what we did hear afterwards from the Washington locker room was that it was a bunch of BS because Amon-Ra St. Brown punched Daron Payne first. Doesn't justify Daron Payne's response. I'm not trying to do that. I think he should have been ejected. I mean, deep down inside, I think football should be football. You're going to punch somebody, okay, get a warning and move on and play. But if I'm going to feel that way about a Lion, then I should feel that way about a Commander too. All right? There has to be some consistency in our world, for crying out loud.
You say that often.
Yes.
It's true.
But the problem is because we like Amon-Ra St. Brown, because he's ours, and he's such a feel-good story about his dad being, a champion in the world of muscle building, and he's got a twin, and he's got a brother who plays in the NFL, and he does a podcast that's fun, and he smiles, and he stands on his head in the end zone, and somebody in Michigan makes a cake out of it. We had him on last year, and all these fun things that he does. And he's productive. And he's diminutive, right? I mean, he's 5'10", and that dude runs, a 4.5 40, which in today's NFL standards isn't super fast, and yet somehow he gets it done. He is Julian Edelman, right? He's Wes Welker.
He's a lot more relatable to fans than maybe a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase.
Well said. Well said. Just because he's ours and because we have all those emotions associated with him doesn't mean we can't hold him accountable and or tell him when he's wrong. Amon-Ra St. Brown, based on footage that has been released, punched Daron Payne first. He went after him. It looked like they collided right forearms, and then he threw a left-handed hook that connected, and Payne's head whipped back. Didn't drop him, but it did whip back. We can say that's football. We can say this is the way it should be. This is the way it used to be, with Dick Butkus grabbing somebody in the middle of the hole and trying to twist their head off, with Ray Nitschke tearing off a helmet and throwing it, with Rosie Greer chasing after quarterbacks and body slamming him to the ground. We can do that all day long. Do I miss those days? You're damn right I do. That's not today's NFL. Today's NFL tries to reel people in that regard. Today's NFL says you get punished for doing something like that. Today's NFL favors some teams we claim, and rightfully so, like Kansas City, who didn't have one single penalty against the Lions in a win against Detroit that we were completely upset with. We saw crack blocks. We saw all kinds of issues. We saw taunting. We wanted some type of redeeming value from the National Football League about that. Damn it, you're doing it to us. Detroit versus everybody. Damn it, you're favoring them. Now we want favoritism? That's bullcrap. If Daron Payne got ejected from that game, and rightfully so, Amon-Ra St. Brown should not play against Philadelphia. What he did goes against NFL rules. Not my rules. They're not my rules. I don't have an issue with it. I believe football is a gladiator sport that has been dumbed down. I hate the way they protect quarterbacks. I hate the way they call games. I hate rules. A lot of the rules that they've implemented in general. All right? I wish they would let them go back to being a physical, tough sport.
Yeah, they call a lot of hand fighting now. They call a lot of roughing the passers that are just egregious.
It's a joke. It's an absolute farce. What happened to Jack Campbell a couple of weeks ago was absolutely revolting if you're a football fan. Okay?
Yep.
But if our guy does something wrong, we should understand why they should be punished like anybody else who would have done that to our guy. If Juju Smith-Schuster did that to Lee McNeil, you would say hell should be brought upon him. I would argue if Jamison Williams did that, you would shake your head and say, see, he hasn't learned his lesson. He hasn't learned as much as you thought.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Here's a guy who still doesn't get it. It's selfish, all that stuff.
I think
the bad reputation who does that is immediately ridiculed. Somebody who we like, somebody who has overcome odds, and somebody who's productive gets the benefit of the doubt.
I didn't even think about it from that angle, but I think you're exactly right. If Jamison Williams had done that, everyone would have said, that's kind of par for the course. Not lately, but it might not have surprised people as much as Amon-Ra St. Brown doing it and it not being talked about at all on the broadcast.
Absolutely. You know what we'd be saying? We'd be saying, okay, that means Isaac TeSlaa starts Sunday night against Philadelphia. Let's go.
Sure.
That's what we'd be saying. Now we're worried. One of two things. Either worried, we're going to need Khalif Raymond here, or Jahmyr Gibbs flexed.
Yeah.
Let's see the two running backs. Or we're taking this tact that I had a group text with last night. they owed us anyway for what happened to Jared Goff.
I'm sure you loved that.
I said, yeah, you're right. Different reffing crew screwed the Lions based on your assumption. Screwed the Lions earlier this year. They got together before the game. Hey, man, I just want you to know, anything goes down tonight, we're going to let it go for the Lions. But why, Bob? Well, easy. Did you see what happened to Jared Goff earlier this year? He got screwed. So we're going to do a little bit of a makeup thing here. But, Bob, we get graded after this. And if the NFL looks at that and says, you know what? You guys missed this blatant punch. You're going to get downgraded, and you may not have a chance at reffing or officiating in any way a playoff game where you get more money. I don't want to do that, Bob. I think it needs to be called. How ridiculous is that? It's stupid. Nobody thinks like that logically. You can't have any logic. You've let your heart get in the way of your head again. Period. The people who don't think he should be punished are the same people who get pissed off when the Kansas City Chiefs aren't punished. You can't do that stuff, man. I'm sorry. It's just flat out wrong. I don't want him to be suspended. I don't want him to be fined. I don't want any type of negative reaction on dirty players and all that. Actually, I don't care about that. But I don't want any of that stuff. I want him to play. I want them to beat Philadelphia. I think it's an important game. I think it's because I think home field advantage, ironically enough, I'm not one of those guys who've ever been home field advantage matters, but I don't want to go to Philadelphia in January if I'm the Lions and play a playoff game. NFC Championship game, I don't want to go to Philadelphia. I don't want snowballs. I don't want Santa out there. I don't want any of that stuff. All right? I know it didn't help the Lions last year, but live and learn. I don't want to go there and have to deal with that. So I think it's a big game. I want him in the game. But based on precedent, like if he had gotten ejected from the game against Washington, okay. Not because they scored 44 points, but because I get it. At least we'll have him for Philadelphia. Now you're running the risk here with this video being released that he might be out for the Philadelphia game. And you know what? If the NFL comes down and says that, I'm going to say should have been better disciplined.
I think they got to fine him. I think it's tough to suspend him for a game that he didn't react that way in. I know that sounds weird.
He did react. What do you mean?
No, I'm saying they didn't throw him out of the Washington game.
That the officials didn't catch it.
Yes. So to suspend him for the Philly game to me is a little much. They absolutely should fine him though.
Yeah. You realize that's happened before though.
Oh, I know it has.
But players nothing happened during the game, and players later have been suspended. It's happened.
Yeah, trust me, I'm worried.
Yeah.
As a Lions fan, I am worried.
I think we should be worried. Phone number on the Meijer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us 21,000. This hour has been brought to you by Meijer. We're back after this.
It's raining cash this November at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 4 guests each hour will score $500 cash. At 11 p.m. each Saturday, 2 lucky winners will each take home $10,000 cash. Then on November 29th, the excitement peaks. 2 guests will strike it rich with $30,000 cash each. A share of $200,000 in cash is calling your name. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
It's time to go in the huddle with Matt Shepard.
1, 2, 3, top flight! It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. It's a new day. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com.
There is still a glow over the Lions' recent win in Washington. Jahmyr Gibbs' eye-popping performance means he becomes the 5th player in NFL history to score more than 40 touchdowns before the age of 24. And Jared Goff becomes just the 2nd quarterback ever to complete 74% of his passes, throw 20 touchdowns and 3 picks or less in his first 9 games of a season. With that, and the fact that the offensive line didn't allow a sack or a tackle for loss, the Lions need to be as good, if not better, this week to ready for the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. Philly is 7-2, winners of 3 in a row, and led by Devontae Smith, who's on pace for a career year, and a top 10 scoring defense in the league that looked championship caliber in Green Bay Monday night.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Yeah, you know it. Rap Rewind 2000. Monday, December 29th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort featuring the boss, BrO's. Special guests, Twister, Baby Bash, and Yang Yang Twins. Tickets start at $75 and are on sale now at the box office at etix.com. Rap Rewind 2000, BrO's plus Twister, Baby Bash, and Yang Yang Twins. December 29th at Soaring Eagle, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
When you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Home run! Home run! He hit it a mile! Let's give them the keys to the Hall of Fame, but not tonight. Tonight they are in the Stanley Cup. Steve Eisenman, come get it.
It feels like heaven must be lying.
I got one question for you, Michigan Nation. Who's got it better than us?
Right center field. That's got carry. It's gone. Number 500 and history for Miguel Cabrera.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Yes. This game is over.
Let's put the kick.
They score.
Red Wings win.
Detroit basketball.
Final hour of the program. Glad you're with us on this Wednesday. We're brought to you this hour by our friends at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. We will get to a daily wager. We will also get to the final results of our poll question from yesterday. Just a quick thought after Michigan's overtime win against Wake Forest in the Little Caesars Arena last night. Day Mara had 18 points. They 11 for 14 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. It's a really good stat line. He's a transfer from, do you know where, Trent?
Didn't you say USF?
UCLA.
UCLA.
I said Michigan was talking about a linebacker. They flipped from USF earlier. No, he's from UCLA.
Sorry about that.
So with UCLA, he averaged 5 points and 3 rebounds per game. Last year, I mean, that's in his career from 2023 to 2025. Last year for the Bruins, he averaged 6.5 points. I don't know if he's going to keep doing what he's doing right now. What's the difference?
Yeah.
How do you go that drastic of a jump from 6.5 to 17.5? Opportunities, flow, players around you, coaching.
I mean, it could be Dusty May, but I think you and I both agree. I think Mick Cronin's a good coach too. So
yeah, I do too.
I don't really think you can just say, well, he's got a new coach and a better situation, because UCLA is a damn good basketball program too.
Yeah, growth, worked on your game. I don't know. It just shows the ceiling. I want to get into a baseball discussion coming up here because the big belief right now for Tigers fans, from what I've gauged, listening to people, talking to people, and looking on social media. I know social media can be the bane of our existence, but a lot of people that's where they get their opinions and their information from. Whether we like it or not, that's true. Okay. You know what the big name is right now for Detroit, right? What do you think the big name is?
Bo Bichette.
It is Bo Bichette. Right.
I saw that going around a lot last night on social media.
Yeah, and I get it. I understand.
I do too.
And quite honestly,
they want the bat.
I'm one of those guys. Yeah, I don't want to leave the glove in the garage. I want the bat too. I don't know what it's going to take to get him. You could move him to third base. I do believe that. Here's what I would ask you. Who do you think is going to be the highest paid third baseman in baseball this coming year? Right now, who would be the highest paid player in baseball at the third base position? Who do you think it is?
Well, I mean, Bregman's a free agent. I have no idea what he'll get. So I would guess him.
As of right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anthony Rendon.
Wow.
Anthony Rendon is going to make $38.5 million for the LA Angels. He has missed in the last 5 years with that franchise. He has missed 605 of a possible 810 games.
And he notably has come out and said, his words, not ours, doesn't like baseball.
Let me reiterate those numbers. Anthony Rendon is going to make $38.5 million this year to play for the Angels in a sport he doesn't like, and a guy who has played roughly 200 games over the last 5 years combined.
Yikes.
That is horrid. That should scare the living snot out of everybody. All right. Now, he's not Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette does love baseball. Okay. So that first and foremost. There's going to be a lot of people up for Bo Bichette. All right. If you look around and you see, I would rank him. Where would you rank him among free agents? Would you rank him number 1? Would you rank him number 2? Kyle Tucker is probably number 1. Right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
Age. If you're looking from an age
is the
standpoint,
only
and
thing.
production, well, no, it's not the only thing. He's Gold Glove right fielder. He can hit the crap out of the ball, hits for power, drives the ball. I mean,
No, I'm just saying that's the only reason you might bump him down. That's the only thing you might be concerned about. Everything else with Kyle Tucker is fantastic.
Yeah, I would love him in my right field every day.
Me too.
He's a really good player. Bo Bichette's in the conversation. Okay, for among free agents, and I know everybody wants him. I get it. I can't tell you how many articles I read yesterday of where people envision Bo Bichette. Unfortunately, this doesn't mean it's right. Unfortunately, really didn't see anybody who's not a fan. I'm not talking about fanboys here who picked Detroit for Bo Bichette. So R.J. Anderson, writer for CBS, says it's going to be Toronto. Mike Axista says it's going to be Toronto. Dane Perry says it's going to be Toronto. The players at SI.com, they all think it's either Toronto or somebody around here. Some may think it's Boston too. Depending on your field, it's going to cost you a pretty penny for Bichette. The belief is somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 years and $200 million. Okay. If he were on the Tigers, based on his numbers last year, he would have led them in hits, 181. Riley Green led the way with 155. So it's really not close. Easily would have led that batting average at 311 last year. He would have been second to Gleyber Torres on base percentage, second to Riley Green in slugging, and number 1 by far in OPS. By far. I'd want him in my lineup too. And before people start to go, strikeout, all this other stuff. No. He doesn't strike out a whole lot. Okay. He struck out a little bit more than 90 times last year. Which I know for some it may be a little much for some. There's not many Tony Gwynns, folks. I hate to tell you that. There's just not that many Tony Gwynns out there. There's not that many George Kells. There's not that many Pete Roses. There's not that many Ted Williams. They don't strike out. Those guys didn't strike out that much. Today's players strike out a lot. So we have to live with that, unfortunately. Bo Bichette, considering as good a hitter as he is, the most strikeouts he's had is 155. That's the same year he led the league in hits with 189 and finished in the top 11 at MVP. Okay. So I like probably doesn't walk me enough. For me, it's only the most he's ever had is 40 walks in the season. Yeah, 40 walks. He's a first pitch swinging type of guy. But he's going to get on base. He's going to steal you bases. He's going to make contact in baseball. Something this team did not do. Don't get me wrong. He's not a base stealing threat like Tim Raines back in the day. Okay, but he can swipe you back, and he's got decent wheels. Here's my disappointment, my frustration, my concern. First of all, how often does he play third base? Hardly ever. And second of all, he's not a good fielding shortstop, let alone third baseman. So it's going to hurt your defense. How good is your defense going to be on the infield? You haven't been able to find that. That was my concern last year. It would be my concern this year with him. But if I had to go fork to nose, I would take a guy like that. On top of that, he's 27. So he's going to be 28. You get him for the prime years of his career. You're going to get him from 28 through 34. I'd take that. Phone number on the Meyer Hotline, 866-833-4843. You can text us at Sports Radio 21,000. We're going to replay at the bottom of the hour our interview with Jeff Janik yesterday. Very, very informative. I think you'll like to do that because you may have missed it. We had him on early yesterday. We'll play him at 8:35 here on BrO's today.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
I know how much you love football, and I know how much you thirst for Lions talk. Hi, this is Matt Shepard. Every Friday morning on X's and Bros at 8:35, we will dive deep into the Lions. What went right, what went wrong, and what we can expect next. We call it What's Brewing with Lions analyst Rob Rubik, brought to you by Ferris Coffee. He's going to join me every week to break down the Lions and their opponent. What's Brewing with Rubes, brought to you by Ferris Coffee, every Friday morning at 8:35 on X's and Bros.
It's raining cash, cash, cash this November at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 4 guests each hour will score $500 cash. At 11 p.m. each Saturday, 2 lucky winners will each take home $10,000 cash. Then on November 29th, the excitement peaks. 2 guests will strike it rich with $30,000 cash each. A share of $200,000 in cash is calling your name. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
I will say this. I did see an article in The Athletic yesterday. Credit where credit is due. All right. They did a really nice job. There's a trio of writers, Tim Britton, Aaron Gleeman, and Chad Jennings. Chad Jennings, the former football player, former defensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, who also was in the war. Happy Veterans Day to everybody yesterday. Thanks for all that you do have done. My father served in World War II and saw a lot of nasty stuff.
What was your father's name?
My father's name was Yale.
Yale Shepard.
Yeah, he was in the Navy and so time in World War II. I've got all his papers because he passed a long time ago. My dad actually fudged his birth certificate so he could fight in the war.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So my dad was 17 when he went to war.
Wow.
He made his birth certificate 18 and wanted to go and fight. So
that sounds like a great movie premise.
Yeah, well,
seriously, that's awesome.
That's why they call it the Great Generation. I had a project in high school. One of my teachers was an expert in 3 areas in history: the Civil War, World War II, and the Old West. We had 2 teachers at North Farmington who were experts, would travel the country in the off season, not the school season, and would, do talks, seminars on those 3 topics. So I took all 3 of those courses. It helped that he was my baseball coach, but he was fantastic. He really was. We didn't use any books. It was based off his knowledge. And our final project was you have to write about in World War II. You have to interview a veteran. So I remember down in the basement, my father asked my father, can I do an interview? And I had to record. He goes, we'll talk about this once. That's it. I'll tell you the stories. I'll tell you about some things once and only one time. Because he never talked about it because of the stuff he saw. So my dad was completely old school. Completely old school. It was, you don't get a lot of credit for stuff that you do that you're supposed to do. My dad was, you're supposed to help without being asked. My dad was toughen it up. You know what? Spray some, put some dirt on it, get up. That's the way he was. And I love that about him. Okay. I wish more people quite honestly were like that today. Because we live in the wussification of America. Period. But he would be rolling over his grave to see what's going on in our country right now. But he was all red, white, and blue, man. And he fought for this country, and he fudged his birth certificate so he could. A lot of people run away, especially today. He didn't do that. When you look at a guy like Hank Greenberg, look at what he did. Okay, there's a ton of athletes out there who have sacrificed. I know Pat Tillman. Yeah, that's a lot of people bring up, and rightly so. That was a friendly fire, which was an absolute joke. But think about this: Hank Greenberg, 3-13, was a 4-time home run leader, 4-time RBI leader, 2-time MVP. Served his country from 1942 through 1944. Missed some of the peak years of his life and his career. I've talked about Ted Williams, the same thing, where he misses age 24, 25, 26, comes back and wins the MVP. Those are men, okay? They didn't stick their chest out. They didn't talk a bunch of smack. They didn't stand over you. They didn't do this kind of stuff. Those were men's men. And that's what we miss in our society today. I wish we had more of it. Unfortunately, we don't. And unfortunately, too many young people don't have a chance to talk to those people, to set them straight and appreciate what we have in this country. So thank you to all those who serve. Greatly appreciate it. It's a day late, a dollar short. I apologize profusely for that. We'll get to the results question and get to the daily wager as well. But I will say this. We were talking just before the break about Bo Bichette and how Tigers fans want him. I understand it. I like him. I want him too, from a hitting standpoint. There are some websites like The Athletic. The Athletic brought up Bo Bichette, 8 years, 200. This is what they're suggesting: 8 years, $212 million. Here are the best fits: Detroit, Philadelphia, and Toronto. Philadelphia had moved into third base. They're going to get rid of Alec Bohm because Trey Turner had a really good defensive year last year. Toronto's probably the leading candidate. would you pay 8 years, $212 million? That's what you have to ask yourself. Okay. Are you willing to pay $28 million? That's basically what it comes down to. That's the going rate, folks. Now, I know everybody gets caught up in Bregman. Bregman's 32. You may have to move him to second base eventually. 6 years, $170 million is what they expect. I think I said the other day 180. It's going to be like 170 or so is what these people are suggesting. The fifths are Boston, Detroit, and Philadelphia. The reason I bring those two guys up is because both would start playing third base. Number one. Number two, their current teams still want them, evident by that. Number three, Detroit's in that mix. Number four, the other team in that mix is your former general manager, Dave Dombrowski, who does not lose very many of those biddings. Keeping that in mind, okay? There's a few others on this list, the top 50 free agents. I looked through every single one of them, and I asked myself, is that guy a fit for Detroit? Would I want a guy like that? So, for example, Michael King is an example of that. He's a starting pitcher for San Diego. He's 31. You could get him 3 years, $75 million. Would you do something like that? That's, you're talking about $25 million for a 31-year-old and who's a middle of the rotation type of guy.
I think most would say no, but there are definitely teams that think if they're an arm away would do that. For sure.
Yeah.
It's a middle of the pack type of thing, Yeah.
He made 30 starts. He had an ERA under 3. That's pretty good. My concern, I know he's injured a little bit. My concern was San Diego didn't use him as a starter in the bullpen. We got a couple texts. Is that what we got? Oh, we got 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Let's get to the final. Obviously, Detroit's in the mix for a guy like Gleyber Torres as well. So don't start with Suarez for me. Don't even go there. So that's not happening. All right. Let's get to the final results of the poll question from yesterday and the daily wager. Here's what we asked you yesterday. Has the NFL MVP become a quarterback award? Yes or no? My guess is that 85 to 90% would say yes. What's the result?
Yeah, 96% say yes. 4% no.
Smart people. Yep. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Jonathan Taylor, as of right now, Jonathan Taylor, Matt Stafford, Drake May, I think would be in the mix. What was your daily wager last night? How'd you do and what do you got tonight?
It was awful because we took Michigan to cover, something I don't often do. The spread was 15.5. Michigan wins by 1, or was it 2?
It was 1 in overtime.
Yeah, that's right. So tonight, though, Shep, you got to help me out with this one real quick before we go to break here. The Pistons are only 2.5-point favorites tonight at home against the Bulls.
That's surprising.
Team in basketball. The Bulls are fine. They're 6-4 on the season.
Yeah, they've lost 3 in a row, though.
And the spread.
I don't get it either. Give it. I'd take the Pistons given the points.
2.5. That's all I need.
It's a Cade Cunningham triple. Yeah, it feels like free money. I hope I'm right. I hope you're right. That's the Daily Wager, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and their sportsbook Ascend. When we come back, we'll replay our interview from yesterday. Jeff Jenick, very, very interesting based on NFL and what offensive coordinators are doing while the head coach is making the call on the field. That's coming up next on X's and Bros here on a Wednesday morning, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here with a message to all of you Lions fans. My good friend Josh Garvey, who runs Dorn Mayhew's Grand Rapids office, will join me every Thursday with former Lion Lomas Brown, and we'll go inside the Lions each and every week, all the way through the Super Bowl. Dorn Mayhew is proud to partner with The Huge Show, and we're proud to have a guy like Josh Garvey join us in studio every week. If you have a Lions question or comment, you can drop them at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Dorn Mayhew, proud to be a part of the West Michigan community and across the entire state with their corporate worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan. So make plans every Thursday, 5 p.m. It's Josh Garvey, who is the managing shareholder at Dorn Mayhew's GR office, with Lomas Brown on The Huge Show, going inside the Lions every Thursday at 5 p.m.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. And if you missed any of today's show, be sure to check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your podcasts to find the greatest hits from every day's show.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget The Huge Show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
the responsibilities of coaches and how detailed things can be and how challenging football in general, I mean, on the offensive side, because Jeff was a brilliant offensive mind. And the coach now joins us here on X's and BrO's. Good friend of the program, outstanding coach, has been at Wisconsin, Cal, Northwestern, Eastern Michigan. He's been around a long, long time. He's worked with some great men, and he joins us here on X's and BrO's. Jeff, we appreciate it as always. Thanks, Coach. So you and I have talked in the past, and I know you were a play caller yourself. When it's taken away, like John Morton had it taken away and Dan Campbell takes over, what does John Morton do during the week, and what was his responsibility, do you think, on game day, Coach?
Well, good morning, Shep, and happy Veterans Day to all. Awfully good to wake up with the Pistons and the Lions in first place.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Way to go.
So first of all, as far as the offensive game planning is concerned, it's a significant collaboration of 5, 7, 8, 10 people within the building there in Allen Park. And what John is going to do is he is still going to be responsible for coordinating all of the play selection, personnel selection, et cetera. Now, in this particular case, a decision was made early in the week, probably Monday of last week, where Dan said he's going to be more involved. And so the head coach is going to spend more of his time in the offensive staff rooms, in the offensive meetings, planning what sort of personnel we're going to use. 10 personnel. You saw where there was 20 personnel, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers to use Gibbs and Montgomery together. And so what goes on is the aspect of on Monday, you're going to sit down and your staff is going to break up. So what John's going to do is he's going to have an area that he's going to focus on. It could be third and long pass game. It could be first and 10 run game. And then they're all going to split that up and come back together on Tuesday and start to formulate the plan.
That's really interesting. I was sometimes you're breaking up a little bit, so I want to give you a little bit of leeway there. That's interesting. So that you take a certain down and distance almost. Scotty Montgomery's doing that. John Morton's doing that. What about game day? He's got headsets on. He's up in the booth. Dan Campbell's on the field of play. First, what's the advantage of being on the field rather than the booth? Second, what is John Morton doing while Dan Campbell's calling the plays up in the booth?
So Dan's on the sideline. He's got the play sheet. And as we discussed, those situations are all predetermined on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and practiced. So it does seem sometimes on 4th and short at the 50-yard line, you're going to go for it, where it's a really stressful call. What are we going to do? Well, that's been planned on Wednesday and Thursday. And so it's a combination of John, the offensive coordinator. He's going to have the best view from the press box, and the view from the sideline isn't quite as good. So he's going to be able to share the details. So you're going to break up responsibilities for the play caller to help. So first of all, someone on the staff is going to tell the play caller what is the down and distance and what is the hash, because you can't see it on the other side of the field as good as you can from the box. So that's the first thing that goes on. And then